You know, every year we get a chance to go up to fish in Northwest Ontario, and we fish for a real wide variety of different fish species. But today Jeremy and I are heading up on one of our favorite missions, and that's to hunt muskies on Eagle Lake Island Resort. It could be an interesting activity. I've never been on Eagle Lake. Jeremy boated his largest muskie he's ever caught.
Yeah, my biggest Canadian muskie came out of this body of water, so I'm pretty excited. It's been over a decade since I've been there, and I haven't been to this section of the lake. From what we know, it should be a classic rock reef deal, fishing the main lake thing, and with any luck, we're going to be putting some really big fish in the boat. This is prime time. We got the moon coming up. Everything's
end of August. The water temperature's starting to drop. You can see we got some real big sticks here, and you can't believe the amount of baits we have. And between Jeremy and myself, I don't know how many baits we have. Too many.
We got one boat dedicated just to muskie tackle. We're bringing another one for multi-species stuff because we got to go different ways, but it's going to be a fun ride, I know that.
All right, let's hit it.
All right.
You've got a 5-hour trip ahead of us here.
A 5-hour trip is nothing when you're talking about giant muskies. Today, Jer and I are taking 2 vehicles up to Northwest Ontario. Our destination, the famous Eagle Lake Island Lodge. This is one of the nicest fishing lodges I've ever been to. It's centrally located on Eagle Lake. It has all the amenities a muskie head would want. Great food, pleasant staff, comfortable cabins, and best of all, lots of 40-pound muskie swimming out there. All you have to do is find them. Like I said, Jer and I have 2 boats up here for a couple of different film shoots we're going on. So on the first day of our trip, we're going our separate ways to divvy up the lake and search out different areas. Then we will combine our knowledge to up our odds on success.
So after splitting up and going our separate ways yesterday, Jim and I are jumping in this boat today, and I want to make sure to have as much information that he had in his boat in this boat. So I just went into his depth finder and grabbed the GPS coordinates and put them on an SD card, and now I'm going to transfer them onto this unit. That way, when he's talking about, oh, there's a rock pile down here that tops off at 4 feet right off of this point, it's hard to remember that just looking at the landscape. So I'll load these things in here, and we'll have all the spots from 2 boats for today. We put a lot of miles on, especially when we're fishing in Canada, fishing big water, wanting to see the whole lake. And one thing that's a real lifesaver on your back is a Smooth Moves seat system. And it's like air ride. I mean, it's just amazing on your back. And if you've spent any time in big rough water, you know how jarring that can be over a long ride. This takes everything away. It's awesome. It makes making the big run a lot more fun.
When you move in, don't get so close. Ooh, big. There's a good one right there.
Wow.
Come here, buddy.
Get her, Jimmy. Get her, get her, get her. I'm just gonna leave the troll going because I don't want to freak her out. She's still there?
Got him. Got him.
Nice, you got him. Awesome. Let's go back and get the net. All right. Is it a good one? Have you seen it yet? It looks like it's kicking your butt. Sorry, I just pushed spot lock.
No problem. It's all right.
It's a good one, huh? Oh, yeah.
Buddy, there you go. There you go.
They are strong, aren't they?
Here we go.
Water. Come on.
Oh, there you go. Oh, boy, he's a fatso.
That is a fat couple.
Look at this guy. Beautiful fish. Look at that. Look at that.
Really pretty, absolutely.
Oh, what a gorgeous fish. These things are so healthy in this lake. That's what Jeremy was saying. That's with the research that's been done. These are some of the fastest growing fish
In this part of Ontario.
Yeah, these fish grow really fast in Eagle Lake. There's a lot of food in this lake, a lot of shallow water habitat, a lot of deep water habitat, and a lot of food. You better get her back in the water. Come here, buddy. Oh, that guy, gone.
If you want to have success in muskie fishing, The bottom line is you got to put in a lot of time, regardless of where you're at. We're on one of the world's most premier muskie fisheries in one of the best areas in the world to catch muskies, but you need to get the timing right most of the time to catch fish. And I'd recommend to anybody that was coming up for a muskie trip, wherever it is, allow yourself at least a 5-day period. A week-long period is great, but if you get a 3-day window to go fishing or just a day or 2 days, there's a good chance you're not going to hit the conditions just right. But if you have that 4 or 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, and you get a chance to fish every day, you're going to be able to put stuff together. You need a little time to figure out what the fish are doing, what they're using, and then you need the timing to be right. You need some weather, you might need the moon, but stacking those odds in your favor are certainly huge. But the biggest thing I can say is if you want to catch muskies, put your time in and allow yourself plenty of time to get it done.
Whoa, there he
Got
is.
him.
There he is. Boy, I saw him
I
come
just
out
looked
and hit
down.
it, Jer. I said, Jerry, you got one on.
Yeah, I just looked at the,
What?
I just looked at the depth finder.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, of course, but man, oh man.
No, I turned around, I looked in back of it, and I saw the fish actually come up and hit the bait.
Perfect. Well, the weather's moving in, and that's a good time to get bit. For sure, I think we're gonna be safe on these rocks when you're reef fishing. You really gotta pay attention to where you're at so you don't end up smashing into the reef. I'm gonna spot lock us, and that'll be a very useful tool.
Okay, there we go.
Bucktailing. You know, when it comes to covering water, we've talked about this a number of times, that the best tool to cover water is a bucktail, and it really does hold true. There's so much water to fish up here that you just need to fish a lot of spots, and to be efficient, this is a great way to do it. Do you want to come up here, Jim, and net her?
Yep, I will as soon as I get her.
She's barely
out of the,
hooked, Jimmy. All right, here we go.
Okay, see, I'm all right.
So watch that bag.
Okay, whoa.
She's been a tough little bugger. Just
Yeah.
pick the bag up. It's gonna
Yep.
get.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Nice fish.
Yeah.
Another nice fish.
Wow.
Woo woo! Muskies in the net.
There you go.
All right, we'll just
Yeah,
put
just
her on
leave
the
her down.
cleat. Yeah, great.
Mr. Pinky's produced
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, nice. This
I
is
saw
a,
him come out. It was really cool.
This is a
Jer-
nice fish too. Yeah. Wow. Look at this one, huh?
There you go.
Wow, that is a great fish.
Okay.
Oh, that thing was a tough customer too. And this fish came on a giant island complex, and there's so many spots and so much to each one of those spots. It's a complicated subject. So we'd like to share with you how we go about breaking down water for muskies when you're chasing them up in Ontario.
I like the old saying, how do you eat an elephant? Well, one bite at a time. And the same thing applies when you're searching for muskies on giant, complex lakes. You have to break it down into pieces to really understand it. Over the first few days of our trip up here, we looked at hundreds of spots. On the first day, Jeremy searched out a completely different lake basin than I did. Then we compared notes. Which part of the lake were the fish more active? Then we broke it down into different types of cover we fished and how we did. We searched deep weed beds without a bite. Both of us tried some transitional water, where there was some rock and weed cover mixed, and we did catch some small fish. Now we were out on the main lake fishing island complexes with multi-leveled reef structures around them. We are seeing fish, marking bait, and there is just a lot of life out here. It's the third week of August, and many species of fish will move out to the main lake basins. There are tons of big reef structures out here. The tricky thing is some are better than others.
When you're looking to isolate the better underwater reef systems out on these island complexes, what you want to do is find big expansive shoals of anywhere from like 5 foot to about as deep as 20 foot. It seems like those are the best ones, and you want really big like tabletop flats of that shallower water. Even though that these reef complexes are out in the center of the lake, that big underwater shelf has a tendency to really be key
to gather food and also to gather muskies. So walleyes and even big pike utilize these same complexes.
Like Jim mentioned, the tabletops, or those shelves around structures, to me are the most important thing when you're fishing shield water, regardless of the species that you're looking for. And then of course the cover elements that are on top, the rock or the weed or whatever it happens to be. But pretty much any good spot that you find always has shelves around it and has greater carrying capacity for more fish. And one last thing is, when it comes to shield fishing, if you fish a spot that's really complex, that has lots of, it might have a saddle in between rocks, big flat shelf, broken rock, round rock, maybe weeds. The more stuff is in there, the more likely it is to catch a fish. And if you fish it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, you don't get bit, fish it again. Fish it again. If you know that it's a good spot, keep fishing it, because fish can show up on those things anytime. And the bigger the spot, the more stuff there is, the more likely a big fish will show up at some point, and hopefully it ends up on the end of your line.
You can see all our coordinates here, how much ground that we've actually covered over the last couple of days. The interesting thing is, when we showed up here 3 days ago, there was no coordinates on this lake. It's sort of amazing how much ground you can cover and actually ID. Look at this. I mean, we've actually just combed these underwater rock piles, and is accurate. This map here is not really super accurate, and like a lot of these Canadian lakes up here, you got to go in and really sort of fine tune any underwater feature. As you can see, we're pulling in. There's nothing on the map here, but there's actually a really nice rock spine that runs from here actually onto this point here. And we'll see if we found another spot.
There he is.
Got him? Nice, big one, Jimmy. Nice. Holy smokes. Top it. Holy smokes, that thing just came out of nowhere and crushed it, huh,
Yeah.
Jim? Is it a big one?
Yeah, it's a nice one. We'll put it that way.
Okay. Spot locked.
Oh, there we go. Oh,
Sweet.
here we go. Oh, come here, buddy. Oh, she's not hooked that well.
I'm ready.
There you. Come here, buddy. Whoa, come here. There you go.
All right. Whoa.
I was gonna say, get her in the net pretty quickly. We only had her by one little hook on the back end of it.
Cool. Nice.
Boy,
Boy, did that sound like a 70-pounder when it bit.
boy, that was fun.
I bet it was.
I'm not kidding you.
So Jimmy said it's my turn to throw topwater.
Yeah.
We've had quite the change in weather patterns, it seems, over the trip we've had up here. And this was a spot that earlier in the week we'd seen fish and things kind of slowed down. But the one thing is, we learned this spot pretty darn well. Nice fish, another beautiful muskie. We learned the spot and it made a huge difference. There's a rock pile that sticks way out from the island. And had we not known that was there, Jimmy wouldn't have thrown his topwater over it and caught this beautiful muskie.
Boy, she really launched it. I know one thing, man. That thing was gurgling. Boy, it didn't. There was no follow involved. It just went crunch.
Yeah, cool. Let's get her back, huh? Wow, that is a pretty fish. Jimmy, you want to release your muskie?
No, you can let her go. That's fine. It seems like you actually did a good job on the unhooking. Boy, that's a pretty fish.
Yeah, that is pretty. Spotted, healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Healthy. Wait till we get one of these things that's 4.5 feet long. See you, sweetie.
There you go. Off to the races.
Awesome deal. Tools in muskie fishing are extremely important, and there's a variety of tools you have. I'm talking about hardware type of tools, stuff you could get at the hardware store. In this case, is the long nose Rapala pliers. But here's some tools that you want to have on board in the boat anytime you go muskie fishing. And one of the most important ones is having a good deep net. This is the most critical thing for keeping the fish healthy and making sure you're not doing damage to them. This is a giant Stowmaster. The fish can stay in the water. It's not going to get hurt. You can do your thing, be patient. You don't have to be rushed. It makes a big difference. But here's some other tools that we carry in the boat anytime we hit the water. Good job, Jim.
Yep.
Right now we're on famed Eagle Lake hunting muskies, and whenever you go out and hunt top of the line predators like muskies, you have to have some really specific tools in the boat. And what I mean by that is tools to quickly unhook, release the fish as simple as possible. And what these tools are: number one, jaw spreader. Number two, long nose pliers. This is a Rapala, very, very long nose pliers. A pair of compound bolt cutters. We also carry, of course, the bread and butter hook file, keep your hook sharp, gloves. And another thing that's really nice is a long measuring device. This is one of the Rapala device. Yesterday, Jeremy actually had a muskie 52 inches, not quite the length of this stick, but most of it.
When it comes to muskie fishing, there's no place on earth that's more fun to chase them than Northwest Ontario. It's the pinnacle of muskie fishing. The spots you get to fish, the way you get to fish them, the number of fish, the scenery, on and on and on. So if you're heading up to Canada to do your muskie trip, here's some tools that I would strongly recommend you have in the boat to catch these fish. First of all is the bucktail. This is the best lure choice that you can make in the warm water period to catch a muskie. These things are easy to fish. Cast them out, reel them in, fish a ton of spots with them, and you'll most likely get bit. That's the absolutely best go-to bait. And when still talking about spinners, I would never come up here without having a good old-fashioned safety pin style spinner bait. This works in open water, but it's also a great tool for fishing around weeds. And a lot of times in Canada, the muskies get in those big thick weed beds, and you need a tool like this to get them out. Safety pin spinner bait. Next is you gotta have a couple of jerk baits on board. Muskies love eating jerk baits, and I pack two different kinds. One that's in line, like a bobby bait or a suic. You jerk the rod tip, the bait goes down, and it comes back up, down, back up. Now this is more of a side-to-side bait where you snap the rod, boom, 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 and the bait glides back and forth. These can be great triggering baits, and they can also show you a lot of fish. Same time, you gotta have a crankbait with for probing the depths. If you wanna do some trolling, casting deeper spots, cranks are an absolute must. Things get tough, make sure you pack some rubber along with you as well. Bulldogs, Medusas, those big pieces of rubber are certainly worth having on board. And lastly, you can never rule out topwater. No matter when you're fishing muskies, what the conditions are, there's times when the muskies won't follow anything, but they will bite on a topwater. If you've got this selection of lures on board, you don't need a lot of stuff, you just need the right stuff. You'll be able to catch muskies up here in Northwest Ontario. I've got 3 rods on the deck for fishing today, and I've got the first one that I'm throwing a lot of is, this is a 7'11", heavy power, fast action, a St. Croix Legend tournament with a 300 size quantum reel on it. And this is just an awesome lightweight tool for throwing little baits. It can handle big fish, no problem. I could, fight a 40-pound muskie with this stick. It's got plenty of power, but it's nice to just have that lightweight rod if you need a break or you just are making a ton of casts. And then I step it up from there. Now I go to a medium heavy muskie action in the St. Croix. This is that Legend Elite, 8.5 foot, and I'm throwing, a lot of the bigger size bucktails, double 9s, double 10s on this thing, and a lot of mid-sized muskie baits. And then lastly, I've got hooked up to about 10 other lures here. I've got my heavy action. This is again an 8.5 foot rod, and this is for throwing baits that are say 5 to 10 ounces. So basically I've got rods for every size of lure that I'm throwing in the boat, the small, the medium, and the large. And I'll just mix it up throughout the day. You can't go chunking this thing for 12 hours a day or heavy baits because you start to tire. So it's nice to have something a little lighter to go to when you need a break. And all of them can definitely handle the bite of the muskie, and they're designed perfectly for the weight of the lure.
$36 for the day.
Yeah, there's plenty of them. I like the change in weather. This seems a little more conducive for an evening bite than that cold, windy stuff. Oh, got him.
Got him? There you go.
Big one, big one,
Big
one, Jimmy.
I'm on it.
Big
I'm on
one.
it, Bubba. Get him. Stay tight. Stay tight on him. There you go. Yeah.
Wow.
Monster?
It's a monster.
Well, let's see. Oh, boy, yeah, look at that whippersnapper. Wow, that's a good one here. Whoa, whoa, that's a real one there. That's a whippersnapper. Whoa, that's a big one there.
Whoa, I knew that when she hit it. I knew I had a hog.
Yeah. The odd thing was like 2 days ago, 3 days ago, we actually saw a big fish on a crankbait on this exact same spot, and it's interesting. Come back a couple of days later, whether it's probably not the same fish on many of these structures. There's more than one fish on it. That's a big one. I know, I want to get her in the boat.
Wow. Big fish, Jimmy, big fish.
I like him.
That's cool. We pulled up on that spot. Wow, did she smoke it, dude?
Did she?
Holy cow, the bait hit the water and she drilled it. It's a monster, guys. Here we go, Jimmy.
Yep, I'm going to get her.
I'm shaking so bad I can't get it.
Well,
Just don't miss. When
no.
she comes, do not miss. Yes! Yes! Oh, yeah!
Look at that one
Oh,
there.
I
That's a
wanted
big
one
one.
of those so bad.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Here,
Let
where's
me
the
see that
pliers?
thing,
I can get
Jimmy.
Ochi. I can get her out. The hook's almost
Oh
out.
my gosh.
There you go. What a tank.
Whoa. Whoa.
There
Wow,
we go.
is this a Canadian giant or what? Another giant comes out of Eagle. You know, we spend a lot of time fishing a lot of spots. We placed our bets on spots that look good. We fished them again and again, learned more each time, and eventually this is what happened. Unbelievable animal.
Better get her
I'm gonna
back.
get her wet.
Yeah, boy, that's a beautiful animal,
Oh.
man.